I, 22F, and my boyfriend, 23M. We've been dating for 8 years. We met in high school, and have been together ever since. We've grown and changed with each other, miraculously, and our relationship has been amazing. We were always communicative to each other, always doted on one another, have inside jokes that are years long, and have become so comfortable with who we are as a couple. Our relationship by all means is a wonderful one. But, I guess I wouldn't be posting here if it was so wonderful, would I? As we've entered into adulthood, I started asking the bigger questions that I realized I wasn't really getting answers on. He's been against having kids, but I want kids. My biggest advice I received was to wait for his real answer when we were older because I asked these questions after dating for 4 years. I asked him what he wanted to do with his future, where he saw himself career-wise and what he was feeling about who he was as a person. If he was changing and growing. To be honest, whenever we speak about these things I always feel like, it gets really quiet, he becomes shorter with his words. A lot of I don't knows. After asking questions many times, I get some answers once he's thought about it. But this scenario has always been regular for us. I'm asking bigger questions, trying to get feedback, and he gives little answers and asks to think about them. But we have always moved along. Next day, next season. We're really happy with each other. We cuddle and watch Netflix TV shows, go to the ice rink, having romantic dinners and tell each other how much we adore one another. But those questions start to bother me. Why doesn't he want to answer them? Why doesn't he ask those about me? Is it necessarily bad that he doesn't want to ask? I mean, we're only in our 20s. But, we've been dating for 8 years. The toss and turn was agonizing. I felt like I was waiting for an answer for a question I asked years ago, regardless of the timeline. I felt more and more pressure to have them answered, because we've been talking about marriage. When I would forget that those questions were so important to me, everything was hunky-dory. We'd talk about where we would live, the animals we would have, and name them, the kinds of TV shows we'd watch on a weekly basis. I pushed the issues I had been feeling in my core back inside, because I figured if I'm a patient girlfriend, a loving one, a supportive one, our relationship will get better. How long we've stayed together is testament to our ability to grow together. We've done it this long, why wouldn't it continue happening? But it hasn't. It really hasn't, guys. This last weekend something snapped. We were looking for places to live. We had 3 appointments. I was looking around the apartment, looking at the kitchen, looking at our bedroom. When we kissed each other goodbye after a post-appointment cuddle/nap, and I went back home, I burst out crying in the car. I was sobbing. When I got home I called my mom, she came over, I was broken. Something died. Something straight up died. I don't know what's going on. I think I need to break up with him. I don't think this is the kind of change that I can ask of him. I don't think asking him to change is fair. It's not that I haven't been patient, I have. He has been giving me his answer to all my questions, I just haven't been happy with what they are. The silence, the skirting around the topic, the I don't knows. I thought we could grow through any scenario, but moving in together put it all into perspective for me. I'm not ready to move in with this guy. Earlier in the year, he told me he was alright with kids, with having them, too. After that conversation, such a huge flood of relief hit me that I think spurred this season of ignorance. He answered my big question, so I was happy. But the reality is setting in. Does he actually mean that? Did he say that to appease my asking? He has told me that I'm the best thing to happen to him, that he loves me and that I inspire him to be a better person, and that he's happy he's with me because he wouldn't know how to date anyone else at this point since we've been together for so long. I wish he had the motivation and drive and a goal for himself. I wish he thought about his future. I wish he was more excited about life, more positive about life. I wish he wasn't so angry at people and himself. I wish he approached his problems readily and openly. I wish he was more emotionally available. I wish I knew how to do this without destroying him, because I think it will. His family would all turn on him, I know it. We've been talking about marriage. We're looking at places to live together. And I just imploded. I imploded. My gut is telling me to do this, and it's never been wrong. But how? How on earth do I do this? Edit. Thank you everyone, so much, for your comments. All of them, I've read every one. I think after the initial hysteria and realization of what I was feeling, and putting it into written word, that I've come to realize what I'm truly feeling. I'll post an update after this weekend when I talk with him, I'll tell you how it goes. Update. So, the big conversation happened on Friday, a day earlier than what I was expecting. After writing this post and speaking to trusted family and friends, I decided I didn't want to wake up like I had all week feeling like shit anymore. I'd open my eyes and just immediately feel that familiar pain in my chest. I wanted it to be over. He had been texting me normally in the week, so I knew he wasn't expecting this. It made it so much harder. That part wasn't easy, texting him back very plainly to avoid lying or leading him on. But I asked him if he'd like to meet on Friday and he said he'd love to, so I went over in the morning after running a few errands with my brother. He drove what he called the getaway car and said he'd pick me up when it was over. It was so hard. His family was decorating the house for Christmas. As soon as I got there, his mother asked me to help drape some garland across the front porch. I stood there with my heart in my throat, helping her out. As soon as I found a window, I walked into the house and found him in the kitchen. He was still in his pajamas. I asked if we could talk in his room, and he said sure. He wrapped me in a hug and rubbed my back, and it took everything not to cry right then. We walked up the stairs to his room, I closed the door, and gave him one last, huge hug in the privacy of his room. I took a breath and then asked if we could sit down. I sat crisscross and began. I told him that I had been in so much pain since we came back after looking at places to live together. I told him that I didn't think we should live together. I told him that was because I didn't think we should be together. I told him it wasn't his fault, that this wasn't because he had something wrong. I told him I felt like there was something wrong with our relationship, and that I knew moving in together wasn't the right choice for us, and ultimately, committing to each other like that wasn't the right choice for me. I told him that I wasn't able to commit to him in that way, when the choice came. I told him that it wasn't a smooth transition, that this decision came all at me at once like a freight train. I told him that I was sorry. He asked me why I was doing this. He looked absolutely shocked. He told me he thought everything was perfect and that he didn't understand why I was saying this. He asked me where we should go from here. I told him I wanted to talk this out, since we'd been together for so long. I told him I wasn't going to waver in my decision because I felt like it was the right choice to make, but I wanted to talk it out. Instead, he went to his dresser, got out of his pajamas, got into a change of clothes, grabbed his backpack, and left. His mother asked him for more Christmas help, but as far as I knew he walked by her. I sat there in shock, I guess. Before he left he said see you Saturday because our friends were having a Friendsgiving. I could feel the hysteria come on. It was like a tidal wave. The reality of what I had just done. It was like every elegant, composed, logical reason I had for breaking up went right out the window. Every graceful approach I was going to take this conversation and just blanked on me. I was simply honest and raw. And now I felt like the shittest person I'd ever known. I got my shoes on and flew down the stairs. His mother was asking me for more Christmas help, but in the first time in years, I ignored her and ran out the front door. I was walking away from his house. After I had reached the street, she came outside. I could hear her steps behind me. She called out my name with the same urgency that you call out to someone as if they forgot something in the house. I didn't turn around. She called out my name again, louder, and I rounded the corner towards the rest of the neighborhood. I then called my brother and asked him to pick me up. He was there in 2 seconds. The car was still moving as I opened the door and slid inside, and I was out of there. That was, by far the hardest thing I've ever done. I was sobbing. My brother held my hand. It was loud, heartbreaking sobbing. I can't believe I had ended an 8-year relationship, but I did. I went home and my family was all there. They all comforted me through it and told me their breakup stories of their first loves. That was Friday. Today, Monday, I have to say, it was absolutely the correct decision for me to make. After the initial tears, hysteria and destruction, I realized I had needed to make that decision for a long time. I feel fuller, in a way, if that makes sense. And I'm excited for what's to come for me. Edit, to be honest, I'm shocked again at the response. Thank you all, even the people who don't agree with my decision. If I were to respond to you all and include every single detail of our relationship to try and justify myself, I think it would defeat the point of reading your honest responses, because that's what I'll be dealing with going forward. I appreciate every comment. I've gone through and read them all. Thank you for your eyes and time spent giving your input. Now on to the next story. Story 2. Caught my friends sexually assaulting my blackout drunk GF and filming it at her graduation party. They said it was a joke, then harassed us for weeks, and tried to turn her against me. I've been with my girlfriend Laura for a year. She is awesome and we love each other. I've been friends with Jake and Shelly for 2 years. We weren't that close seeing as I met them through my group of friends, but now we're very close. They adore my girlfriend and pretty much hang out with her more than me. One time they even told me if we were to break up they would pick her side over mine, even though I've known them longer. Anyway, I'll get to the point. So Laura just graduated college and wanted to celebrate. Let me start by saying she never drinks. In the year I have known her, I think she's only drank like once or twice, and honestly, that's because my group of friends kind of pressured her into it. She doesn't handle alcohol well since she is really small and has no tolerance. This will be important later. So Jake and Shelly invite her over to their place while I am at work, so I can't come. The plan was for them to pick her up and take them to their place, and for me to pick her up after work so she doesn't drink and drive/have to spend the night. All is well, I trust them and I know they are experienced drinkers and would watch her. I get off at 2 a.m. from work and head over to their place. At this point, I know Laura is drunk because of the sloppy texts I am getting from her, so I knew that I would have to take care of her. But then, I get to their house and I walk in on something terrible. Laura is passed out on the ground, Shelly is on top of her making out with her, and Jake is recording it all with his phone. I freak out and ask him what the fuck is going on. I snatch his phone from him and delete the videos and pictures. He laughs and says it was all a joke, that they took the pictures to make fun of Laura in the morning, play a joke on her. I pick her up off the ground and we leave. Guys, she was so drunk she could barely walk. She was puking constantly, she was crying and couldn't see straight, and my friends were completely sober. What the fuck? I put her to bed and then receive a text from Shelly, saying that I shouldn't be mad since it was all a joke. I replied that they took advantage of her, and she agreed, but claimed they took advantage of her in a friendly way so that she would let loose and have fun since she is always studying. I was so disgusted that I didn't reply and cared for Laura all night since she wouldn't stop vomiting. The next day, Laura receives a bunch of text messages from them angrily berating her for getting them in trouble. They say she is a grown-ass woman who can handle her own mistakes, that they don't give a fuck what I think about what they did, that I am a little bitch, and that it's basically all her fault and she pressured them into making the video. If you all saw how incoherent and blacked out my girlfriend was, you'd see that she couldn't even stand up, let alone pressure someone to do anything. She has been crying over it all day, and switches between yes it was all her fault, to no they were being disgusting assholes. As for me, they keep berating me and insulting me for being angry, saying I am overreacting to a simple joke that they were going to play on her. I don't know what to do, please give me some advice. Am I wrong? Because I don't fucking think I am, but Jake and Shelly are going around spreading rumors about this, making me out to be a jealous, controlling asshole and my girlfriend to be a dumb drunk who pressured them into acting badly. Relevant comments. Deleted. Does your girlfriend remember how much she had to drink before she started to black out? She sounds like she was really sick afterwards, and if she doesn't remember supposedly doing all these shots, I'd worry about how they got her into this bad of a state. Oop, she does not, but she remembers that they didn't drink and that is fishy to me. The text the friends sent, the exact text they sent was, we really did take advantage of her, but in a friendly way. She wanted to take more shots and we wanted her to have fun since she's always stuck home studying. It was more of a joke to her sober self? I'd quit the fuck that means. When told they are predators, you know what, I've suspected this but I didn't want to believe it. I always felt left out because they would prefer to hang out with her and they told me so. I feel so guilty because if it weren't for me, my girlfriend would have never met them. I feel bad for letting her go there with them. Update. Hey guys. So for several days after the incident, they constantly contacted my girlfriend blaming her and telling her it was her fault. She did admit to them that she was blackout drunk and couldn't remember anything, and they pounced on that information by telling her false stories of what actually happened and telling her that I was lying and a controlling asshole who just wanted to isolate her from her true friends. Since they've known me for a long time, they then proceeded to tell her horrible stories about my past, that I did drugs, when I was 18 for God's sake, that I was once arrested for drunk driving, that was a mistake I owned up to as soon as her and I met, and she was aware of it since the beginning, and that I've slept with multiple women and that Laura is just another number to me. Guys, I'll admit that I used to be a party animal and I have a bad past, but I am a changed person now and I love my girlfriend with all of my heart. It hurt that they were using my past against me in order to get her to come to their side. So I told her that she should go to the police and file a report, and she agreed. She warned them to quit harassing her and they flipped the fuck out. They showed up at our house late at night to try to talk to her, they left treats and presents for her at our door, they even got her parents involved. Now, her parents are not idiots and as soon as I told her what they did to Laura, her parents banned them from the house and threatened to call the police if they ever showed up again. It was a crazy ordeal, considering they left handwritten notes for her parents to read signed love, your favorite son and daughter. WTF? Laura spent many nights crying into my arms racked with guilt and confusion. Finally, we went to the police after weeks of this harassment and filed a report. She did not want to press charges. I'm working on building her self-esteem back up so she has the strength to do it if she ever wants to. The police officers said that she has enough evidence to press charges against them since she has the texts where they admitted to taking advantage of her, and they also said that if she presses charges, they can confiscate their phones and search for their video. I'm still not sure how that would work but I'm not questioning it. Laura just wanted to file a report just in case anything happens in the future there is a paper trail. She's contemplating putting a restraining order on them, but they've stopped and have gone silent. We no longer have contact with them or any other friends that believe their lies. Laura is in therapy and is slowly starting to understand that she was sexually assaulted, and sometimes I go with her to support her. The hardest part for her is not feeling like it's her fault. She brings up the fact that she was drunk and if she had not gotten that drunk at all could have been avoided. I always tell her that it is not her fault. We will see if she decided to press charges. I can't force her to do anything she doesn't want to do but I support her in anything she chooses. So there it is. I'm not sure what to make of the craziness that happened after that night. I don't get why they went psycho leaving her notes and gifts and trying to talk to her parents.